Good morning, lovely people. How have you been? I missed you. This is Dalia Zaid, founder of FWD Consultancy, and this is the kickoff of season two. Can you hear me okay? Because I'm using a different device this time around. Okay, excellent, Manan. Good to see you and good to see everybody. There's a lot of familiar faces. I hope you're having a good time. I'm not sure if you're on holiday or not, but I did really miss you. So I hope season two would be fun for you as season one. Today we talk about disruption. So disrupting the brand experience, and I don't know how far you've been following these last 2 days. There's been this activation in London by Maybelline, the makeup brand, and been getting a lot of feedback because one of the things I've just written that I think it's not good for the business in terms of ROI. I don't know, you can check it out. So I wake up this morning and I have like tons and tons of for and against, which is fantastic because I always love a good debate. So, and it matches very well what we're going to talk about today. It's random thoughts. I honestly, when I prepare for these sessions, I just try to, jot down a few ideas, maybe buzzwords for me to just remember what I'm going to talk about. And examples from, brands that I worked on or sort of best practices from brands that I've been exposed to. So just to be honest, the idea of this talk today came from the fact that I was simply bored, and I don't know if you feel the same way. But following up on LinkedIn or other social media platforms or attending conferences, I'm just hearing the same talk, the same discussions, even, very respected, people I follow, they sort of recycling other people's opinions. And to me, I mean, like, I'm really bored. Where is, something that would grab my attention? And then I reflected a little bit, but isn't that what we're doing as marketeers to our customers in many ways? I think there's a lot of loads that would go on the client side, but also agencies not upgrading their knowledge around how to cut the clutter. I mean, think about it, and I mean that in a very scientific way because I've been working for a few years on neuromarketing, and we do know now how the brain works, how stimulus is processed in the brain, and with all of these, SAP apps and social media. I mean, think about it. We actually have threads now. I mean, as if we needed one more app. Anyway, I think it's ridiculous, but that's a separate discussion. But I was reading that we as human beings we get almost 10,000 messages, not specifically advertising, but sort of messages almost every day. So between 5,000 average, let's say an average to a maximum of 10,000. Tell me, for God's sake, how would you actually process that and get meaning? So I'm sure what I'm saying can resonate with all of you as practitioners. So what do we do about it? Yeah, I was thinking maybe let's start from the beginning because in terms of technology, if you're talking about a product level, can you really differentiate yourself now? I mean, there's so much evolution with tech, and let's say you want to buy speakers, headphones, and then you go to the store, and I'm talking average consumer in tech like me. All right, I have very basic functions. I just wanted to do X. But of course, there are other parameters that I would look at, and probably I'm not the expert, so I'm going to ask a friend. I go to a trusted store. Of course, I will Google, but most of the stuff that I'm going to Google and read, I have no clue what these are. So, how they measure the sound or whatever. I'll be just a classic customer and think like, I want it to be sounding good. I want to hear my music well. So I have a need. And maybe, just maybe, the way as marketeers for this headset, we would have rewarded, um, the narrative around the products, especially if you're selling online, maybe you would have highlighted that this is for jogging, this is for listening to rock music. You want to, the bass is high. So understanding the real need from the very beginning and what triggers that purchase. That one word, I get into the store and I mean, I'm a huge rock fan. So I'm like, yeah, I want to jog and have that full experience of the band and, the rock riffs and stuff. So if you talk to me as somebody who's a music lover and tell me this is the best headset for you to listen to that, I'm in, man. I'm going to buy you. Yeah. And then consciously or subconsciously, whatever you want to phrase it, yes, I will ask about the other one so I don't, feel that I'm a stupid buyer. But in reality, yes, I am picking that up on emotional reasons because you, as a brand, you spoke my mind. Yeah. So to me, that's disruption because that is disrupting the way the industry is framing a purchase of a headset. So you get your buy. At the end of the day, we're here to sell. And this reminds me with, again, this morning's argument or yesterday around Maybelline and their activation. It's fantastic. It's wow. You see it once and then that wow effect is gone. But is it going to generate sales? Because at the end of the day, we're here to sell this product. We're here to gain market share, whether physically or mental mind share in terms of brand equity. And more, as I'm not talking about a specific country or a region, but everybody, their economy is struggling and things are shifting and consumer behavior is changing. I think you need to sit down with yourself before you write that brief to the agency and look hardly at the bottom line and the ROI. And therefore, whether you will be able to ask for more marketing budget and, prove the ROI. So that's one part, an example of probably disruption. The other thing I was thinking because I was reading, the history of that word. And in business, it used to be if you're a disruptive business, that means you're killing your competition. You're getting into a category and you are killing them. So if you think hotel business or commuting business, you think people like Ubers, Airbnb, and whatever. You, as the contender on the other side, did you think that hotels or hotels, yeah, and hostels, did they think that people are going to rent out their homes seriously? I mean, I don't know, 20 years back, I don't know how old the average audience here, but 20 years back, would you think a stranger would come into your house and rent a room seriously? Did Marriott, as a chain, a luxury chain, think that the villa at the end of the road is going to be let, and somebody's going to take it exclusive, and they don't want servicing, probably just somebody who comes and clean up, but all of that fluffy services that they charge you up for would not be necessary in the future. So again, are you a business that are thinking of other competitors that are going to come in the market and disrupt you and run you out of business? This is something that you need to think about. The other thing, what is your frame of reference in competition? JSK, the consumer division, I know they changed their name now. I can't remember now. Something starts with an H, I think. The regional team here, they asked me to come in as, in the leadership meeting like 5 years back or so and talk to them a little bit about, the future and the trends and so forth. And one of the things that intrigued me in the discussion is that they were all talking about, moving to wellness. So I don't know how far you know, but GSK, they have Sensodyne, the toothpaste, and Benadryl. So obviously, I mean, they won big with all of this COVID and stuff, like, like Dettol, lucky them. But I stood there and I thought, like, okay, guys, wellness is a very big word. It's an umbrella for a lot of competition. You'll be competing with supplements, gyms, skincare, anything that the shopper, your customer, thinks is going to make them well, feel them happy, And of course, it's natural to think of that as a business because after COVID, there was a lot of need to maintain your health, not only fix it, but not get sick, kind of, because people felt they're very vulnerable. Their immunity is down. So I know you probably have been following whatever products has been on that. But then, from a strategic thinking a point of view as a business, who are you really competing with? Because it is a pocket share. The customer has X amount of money, and they are making choices. Some of them rational choices because I need to get this fixed in my body, but at the same time, a lot of it is emotional, which is linked to brand performance, or historically or current. It's of course advertising and activations, price, and the community that they belong to, particularly if you're younger. Okay, there are a lot of influences around, and social media. So, and then that dollar would go to which brand, to which effect. So, I mean, you know me, I worked on snacks forever, and it used to be chips and biscuits, but today noodles takes a share of snacking. See what I mean? So, that is part of the discussion and dialogue when you do your strategy. What am I doing in terms of disruption? I think most people, top of mind association with disruption is advertising, which is true. I mean, you need to communicate and cut the clutter. As we mentioned earlier, there's a lot of bombardment of messages all over the place, different language, different apps, and so forth. But what are you doing about it? And if we're thinking about disrupting in terms of communication, and some people will call it guerrilla marketing, I don't know. They get all of these terminologies every now and then, but I'll just go to the basics. So you're doing an activation to disrupt. In 2009, and this is always a case study I love to put in my workshops, IKEA in the UK, they were having problems with selling mattresses. I think it was 2009. Yeah. Anyway, 9 or 19. I don't know. I need to check. But anyway, and they said we're going to do out of the box activation. And the reason I'm telling you the story is that I like the linkage with a business objective first, and then the creative would come in and say, okay, these are the suggestions that we can do. So they've invited customers to come in at night, yes, to the store, and they're going to sleep over. But in that process, there will be videotaping, obviously. The customers are going to be shown the different types of mattresses, how comfy they are. They're going to sleep on it. They're going to choose whatever they want to. They're going to have pictures. You can imagine the amount of postings on social media. It is, surprising. You're sleeping in IKEA, basically. And there were sleep doctors. They're advising you about the quality of your sleep, and the quality of sleep is very important, by the way. I'm sure many of you know that, and it's the time that the body maintains itself, and get up and running in the morning. So it's quality sleep is very important, not the number of hours per se. So there was an expert there to you can suggest things and stuff. There was some celebrities, but very limited. It was all real people, raw takes of your experience with mattresses. And there were like fun facts like, did you know that you spend more time with your mattress than your average partner in a lifetime? Which, if you think about it, it is actually true. And they would tell you the frequency of changing it. Now, it's a very lovely, there's a lot of details, lovely ones, which you can read later. But my point here is, if you're going to disrupt, always think that it has to stem from an actual business objective. And more, and I would think that businesses want a scrutiny on the kind of money they are spending. I don't know if any of you have attended Cannes this June. I did not, but I always had this reservation on, I wouldn't say creativity, because creativity is fantastic, and if you look at the drivers and diagnostics of a good advertising, it definitely comes first, yeah. So don't get me wrong on that one. It's just I needed to be rooted in a business thinking. Uh, a couple of my friends had gone to Cannes this year, and we discussed a little bit, not too much details yet, but they said yes, there were a couple of panels thinking how to connect the creative to business results. uh, I mean, like, oh my God, finally they came to realize that they need to do this. So, yeah, I don't know what the outcome is, but they were like very, obvious screw ups, I would say. Let's say Burger King, and if you know the history of that and the launch of the campaign, the Rotten Burger, it had failed on a business level, and I think the marketing director had to go. They lost literally 5% market share in 1 year. There is an analysis for this, which I share in my neuromarketing workshops. But it's that the following year, Cannes actually gave it an award, and the award was just purely creative assessment, yeah, but it had no linkage to business results, and to me that is very, very wrong, and that really dilutes the power of creative. And yes, it was disruptive, is something that everybody spoke about. But if you think about it, disruptive is really short term because, I mean, literally, you look at it, you say, wow, that is cool, I'm going to share it, and full stop. Yeah? So, again, maybe you want to go back to that example of the Maybelline mascara and the activation in London where they put lashes on the underground train, and it passes by the mascara, and as if that person is putting a mascara on, and they just had Maybelline. Everybody's like, wow, great. But then what is the objective? It's certainly not awareness. It's a very big brand. I didn't see any new launch or product descriptive there that would catch my attention or curiosity. But I would say it could be the case that I'm reminded in store when I'm buying my mascara that I need to check out Maybelline mascara. But you know what? I'm actually currently working on a cosmetic project which has color cosmetics, and the drivers of for a woman, drivers of picking a mascara is very different. And mascara specifically, because it's with the eyes and there's sensitivity and all of that. So you can have drivers from initiating volume to growing lashes to color. They don't stick together, the lashes. There's tons and tons of reason which drive that, and most women would have a favorite. Now, what this activation can do is put Maybelline in the consideration list of that customer. But then, as they say, the moment of truth is when you're in store. So you have your favorite, and then you have Maybelline, which you now remember the activation, you go and check it out. But if the price or any variable does not meet like your, favorite brand, you'll not buy it. But it could be the case that it matches, so you're going to get a trial. So that's a tick on the box. But then again, is it worth all that money? I'm just thinking in London and you do this type of activation, how much does it cost? Yeah. So yes, it could be a wow effect, which is going to be long term, because next time you're going to pass that underground or that, billboard or whatever, you're not going to look at it. It's already, as we say, there is a word in Arabic like it's burned. You already know it. It's like jokes. You're funny, blah blah blah, but you don't want to hear the same joke, 3 times a day. That how much is the frequency you're going to run your ad. So I think just to wrap up here is cutting the clutter should be one of your objectives, absolutely. But think of what is it that you want to disrupt, yeah, and the ROI, definitely. Um, don't bring in something to the market that is just noise, because it will be short, probably not relevant, and may not be the best thing. I mean, some customers would say, that's a noisy brand, that is clueless, that is blah blah blah. And with all the type of mediums coming up, type of messages, I really want to focus on what the brand stands for, what the target is looking for. I can tell you from you know, many years back. It's like in my baby class for marketing. Um, Someone told me that, you know, when you look at advertising, you watch and you're the target, and you say to yourself in your head, "Ah, that brand really understands me," or "This is a statement I would definitely say when I'm using it," or, you know, "That brand definitely understood your gap as a customer," and therefore subconsciously you will advocate for it, you know, unless something dramatically happens to that brand. So I would, um, you know, stop here. As you know, the format of these talks is like me talking 20-25 minutes, sharing random thoughts as I told you. And I would open the floor for discussions, comments, builds, Q&As, of course. So just, you know, raise your hand, and when I call your name, you just unmute yourself. Dr. Fet, please go ahead. Hello.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed the talk, and it seems on a Saturday morning no one wants to talk, so let me just jump in.
Please.
First of all, thanks for this great talk. And healthcare leader and operator, we run hospital operations in Saudi Arabia and then UAE. When it comes to the healthcare marketing and brand management, it's a difficult job because